On October 21st, IBJ unveils the 2025 Women of Influence. Join us to celebrate Indy's most inspiring leaders and hear the powerful stories behind their success. Don't miss this moment. Register now at ibj.com/influence 2025.
Time to buckle in to learn more about an Indianapolis-based regional airline making a big mark in aviation.
Republic Airways. Welcome aboard.
The story behind Republic Airways, 6,500 employees, 1,000 daily flights, its new high-tech corporate campus about to open in Carmel, and how the company is addressing the pilot shortage. Join us for a conversation with Republic Airways President Matt Koscal on this edition of the Business and Beyond podcast presented by PNC. And I am pleased to be joined on the podcast this week by Matt Koscal. Matt is the president at Republic Airways, a major player in the airline industry, and proud to say headquartered here in Indiana, in particular in Carmel, with a new gleaming new headquarters. Matt, how are you?
I'm doing great, Gerry. Great to see you again, and thanks for having me on the show today.
Great to see you. Last had you on the show talking about Republic's really cool and unique initiative aimed at solving this pilot shortage, the Lift Academy. We'll talk a little bit about that a bit later, but lots happening in a big way at Republic, including longtime CEO Brian Bedford heading to become the administrator of the Federal Aviation Administration. That's a big story. That prompted your elevation to the president's role. Have you talked to Brian much? How's he doing out in D.C.?
I've had a couple of conversations with Brian. He's been a long-term friend and a great mentor. And he is the right person for the right job at the right time. We're so proud of Brian professionally at Republic here that he was tapped. We think it's a great recognition of not only his professional success and expertise for the role, but the regional industry and the role that we've taken over the last few decades to become leaders in much of the space that we participate in. And Brian represents the best of the industry at a very challenging time to modernize an outdated air traffic control system. And we're really, really pleased that he was tapped for the job and really appreciative that he stepped up and was willing to take on the role. We need more leaders to be willing to do that sacrifice and to go in and to serve in the public forum and to help us find better solutions for the future.
Yeah, I think it to me, it underscores his passion for the industry to leave a long-time role at Republic, very challenging role at a major player, and to go into that challenging role at the FAA at this particular time. So I think it kind of underscores his commitment to the industry and its future.
It really does. It underscores his commitment to aviation, which he's passionate about, his commitment to excellence, right? At Republic, we're an organization that is focused on safety and excellence, and we believe we do it better than anyone else out there on a day in and day out manner. And some of the most complicated airspace in the world. We're one of the largest operators in the Northeast corridor. A lot of folks here in Indiana don't realize that an Indiana-based organization's largest operational presence is in the Northeast hub. So Brian's got a great history of helping provide strategic and innovative, proactive solutions within our industry, and was passionate about taking the insight, the knowledge, and his passion for excellence to the FAA. We're excited for him. We couldn't be happier about him in his new role.
Yeah, how's the leadership transition going? You were elevated to president on Brian's departure. Board chair David Grizzle serving as CEO. How's that whole process gone?
It has been seamless, and it's a testament to the way that we do things here at Republic. We're a long-term planning organization. We're always proactive in our nature of how we move forward. This was a planned transition that we expected to have at some point in the time. We just didn't expect it to happen as quickly as it did with the rapid departure of Brian. And I was really fortunate that we've got an experienced expert like David on our board who could step in during this transitional period and help lighten the workload as we go through a lot of transition all at once, from the merger to the departure of Brian and our new corporate headquarters. But we have a phenomenal team here that I am blessed to work with and fortunate to call my peers. And we've worked together. Really, our senior leadership team has been together for over a decade. So we're battle tested through a lot of good times and challenging times like COVID.
Yeah.
And we couldn't be performing better than we have for the first half of the year, and we're on track for each and every one of our measures and goals for the year. So it's been a really smooth transition, and that's a testament to how we do things at Republic and the people that we have here.
Matt, talk about Republic. Many people know the Republic name, but as you kind of touched on a little bit ago, I don't think people grasp the full, concept of all you do and how large you are. One of the largest regional airlines in the U.S. You're flying for major carriers, American, Delta, United. Give us a thumbnail description of Republic Airways today.
So today we operate over 1,000 flights on over 240 aircraft in our fleet. We have 6,500 aviation professionals, the most passionate in the business. And in many ways, you're exactly right, Gerry. Many people don't realize they're taking a Republic flight, and that's because we're doing our job so well. We are seamlessly delivering our customer, whether it be American, United, or Delta, their product, and their passenger experience. And we run at an operational reliability level that's second to none. We deliver a product that is just amazingly efficient when you think of all the obstacles that an airline faces on any given day to get the right people, the right equipment in the right place. And to do that when dealing with the elements that, as you know, we don't always control the weather. But we have a phenomenal group of individuals that do that day in and day out and deliver some really important passengers to the most important parts of their life, which is why people fly at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's kind of a loaded question, I guess, but give us your take on the state of the airline industry. Lots of challenges in the spotlight, lots of complexities, certainly in the airline industry. I think you arrived at Republic a little more than a decade ago. Much different industry than it was, even a decade ago. How would you describe the state of the airline industry today?
Yeah, the state of the industry is incredibly strong. As we've come out of COVID, we definitely were stressed for resources, both supply chain resources, as many industries were stressed on the supply chain side, and we were understaffed, and that was limiting the capacity, the ability for us to match supply with demand. And we saw a fundamental shift coming out of COVID in many industries where the leisure consumer really started to prioritize experiences over goods as they looked at their discretionary dollars. And that's been an incredible tailwind to aviation in general. And we continue to see that. We continue to see strong demand for the product that we deliver. We continue to see individuals valuing and prioritizing experiences such as travel over other purchases. And I believe that change is here to stay. And that's great for our customers, American, Delta, United, and good for Republic, because that means demand's going to continue to be there for our product as we continue to grow and look to grow and provide more opportunities for our associates.
For a carrier like Republic, what's the biggest, and I'm sure there are several, but what's the biggest challenge you face today?
So, look, I would say there's two challenges we face as a carrier like Republic. One is one that we control or we have greater control on, and that's our workforce development stream. You mentioned and teased about Lift Academy, and over 6 years ago, we started an initiative to take that challenge more into our hands here to provide a vertically integrated solution that doesn't solve our workforce development needs, but helps augment it with a really efficient career path for young men and women who are looking to get into the field. And that will continue to be a challenge over the next 2 decades as we ensure that we have the right trained individuals for the right roles and enough of them that we're attracting the right people to aviation. Externally, it's no different than what the public faces or any other airline, and that is the inefficiencies at times of our air traffic control system. And I get asked all the time as an aviation executive, is it safe to travel? And absolutely, it is safe to travel. Undoubtedly, it's safe to travel. I travel and fly each week. My family flies with me regularly. And I don't think for a second that it is unsafe for us to travel. We have the safest aviation system in the world, and we will always have that. The problem is due to the outdated nature of the equipment and resources We do it by sacrificing efficiency and pulling down supply. We slow down the system, we cancel flights, we delay flights, and that creates incredible disruption for passengers, for our associates who are out there, delivering that product, and uncertainty. And no industry likes uncertainty or disruption, but it definitely creates an even greater negative effect when you look at an industry like aviation that just needs to run on time and in a sequential manner to ensure that everything is delivering the high quality product that our passengers and customers expect from us.
How do you overhaul an outdated system? A system, as you're talking about, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy has talked a lot about that, but that's a daunting task. How does that happen?
So it is an amazingly daunting task, and I'm not going to go out and front run my good friend, Administrator Bedford and Secretary Duffy. I'll let them decide the best sequencing of how we go about in tackling this. I will say, the one thing we need to ensure, and as airline professionals, as consumers of the industry, we need to be asking Congress to fully fund the mission. It won't happen if we're not fully funding the mission. So, the plan that both Administrator Bedford and Secretary Duffy come up with, we need to ensure that Congress is making this a nonpartisan issue and that we are just funding a system that will continue to put us in the best position to maintain our leadership in aviation in the United States.
Let's talk about Republic's commitment to Indiana, which is substantial. Indiana is home for Republic, new corporate headquarters right off US 31 in Carmel. Talk about the investment in that new headquarters and what it's all about.
Oh, it is a substantial investment here in Indiana and for Republic. And it is at the core of making us the airline that we are, which is it's a substantial investment in our culture, our training culture, first and foremost. As you talk about that beautiful campus, the first two buildings that were constructed there were fully focused on training. We provide training nearly 365 days a year. We bring in over 300 associates each and every day from around the country to do whether it's flight training, in-flight training, technical training, and the likes. It is a aviation technology campus. And to ensure that we prioritize that investment in training, that we're providing the best training environment so that folks can lean into adult learning principles that produce a more efficient and more effective product was critical in how we put this campus together. As you walk the campus, you will see it was purposely designed to ensure that the training areas are designed to produce, great classroom experiences, great simulator experiences, and forward-leaning environment for our students as they're going through the training. And the relaxation environments equally were designed to ensure that people could disconnect from that rigorous training curriculum, recharge appropriately, invest in each other, learn more about each other. Because at the end of the day, if our culture isn't as strong as we want it to be, we won't deliver the product that we need to deliver. Which really leads us to the next phase of this, which is our corporate headquarters, which will open up in December. And that's really going to be the final phase of this corporate campus, which brings our operational center, the nerve center of our airline, the administrative staff that supports the 85% of our employees who are remote in any given day. It brings us all onto a singular footprint. And that will allow for greater connectivity between our corporate, associates and those individuals who live on the front line delivering our product each and every day. And I truly believe that those casual interactions, those opportunities for us to, bump into each other at the coffee bar or outside in the picnic area and, get to know how the decisions we make at corporate affect the day-to-day lives of the individuals that deliver our product, get to know and understand those more intimately, make us stronger as an airline. So, as you walk through the corporate campus, whether it's the training side, the corporate side, you'll see it's designed as a destination. It's a destination for our employees to want to come to and to experience and be their best. But beyond that, you look at workforce development. It's a destination for the community to come in and bring classroom field trips or different community outreach programs into the aviation world and to touch, feel, and learn more about aviation, to get excited about those career paths at an early age. and hopefully one day pursue them through avenues like our Lift Academy. So it's a real long-term strategic advantage for us as an airline that we're passionate about.
Let's talk about the Lift Academy, which I think you were a key player in getting that developed off the ground, lifting off, pardon the pun. But that was really and is really an innovative effort by Republic to attack this. You hear so much about the pilot shortage, but is anyone really doing anything about it? And I think this is an example of Republic doing something about it. Talk about the Academy, what it's all about, and what impact it has had so far.
So the academy was about creating an opportunity here initially in Indianapolis, and as you know, we've expanded since then. We now have a location in Myrtle Beach. We have a location down in Galveston, Texas, and most recently announced our expansion into Tuskegee, Alabama. So we've really expanded the presence of Lift Academy. But it was a design for us to vertically integrate and to bring the culture of excellence, the culture of process and design of how we operate an airline into day one of a flight training academy. And as we've expanded into a maintenance technician training academy, it allows individuals who aren't looking to explore what do they want to do in a general studies environment, but know that they want to be a pilot or know they want to be a technician and find a very efficient path to come forward, do that efficiently with a partner that will guarantee them employment if they move through these curriculum and milestones successfully, and will help guide them through their developmental path as they need to go and gain additional experiential hours as either a technician or as a pilot. The program has been incredibly successful. We have nearly 500 students across our multiple campuses who have been going through the program annually. And now we're at the point where, I see the fruit of that program that we launched as an idea back in 2019, actually in the front of the cockpits in our commercial operation. A few months ago, I was flying with a full lift crew, right? A lift captain, a lift first officer. And it was really exciting to see, the individuals who started with us on that journey back in 2019 and 2020, difficult times for the industry and for, the country as a whole, pursue that career path and grow with us and now taking on leadership roles at the front of the cockpit. So we'll continue to not necessarily grow, but refine and master. We think the size is the right size right now in the footprint of Lift Academy, that it provides us a good flow of pilots that will continue to help us in our ranks and as we grow the airline. But it's not meant to be, 100% source for all of our hiring. It's meant to be a portion of our hiring. We love the diversification of talent that we get from different schools, from different programs across the country. It ensures that we're learning best practices from all the different flight programs across the country, and we're not becoming complacent or stale in our ways as we continue to grow this airline.
Is this pilot shortage, is it getting better? Is it improving?
So it is temporarily improved, and I say temporarily because we just cannot be comfortable or complacent with where we're at, because we will run into additional struggles on the pilot shortage side of the house as we see mandatory retirements continue to ratchet up over the next 5 years. As we look at the pilot aging curve in the industry, we will see a step function of retirements that begin to peak in 2027, 2028. If those peak retirements come with additional expansion and growth of capacity in the industry overall, which has also been slowed a little bit because there's still engine supply chain issues that are slowing growth in the industry as a whole. So I do expect, while we sit in a very healthy pilot position and technician position here in 2025 and looking ahead to 2026, it looks great. We're not complacent, though. We know we need to continue to attract, young men and women to this profession. We need to get them ready and prepared and be ready to answer that call as we see further demand on the pilot ranks and the technician ranks in 2027, 28, 29, and beyond.
When you look at the system expanding or growing, I'd be interested in your perspective on this. But nonstop flights has been a big focus for a long time here in Indianapolis and getting more. And certainly Indianapolis has gotten a lot more. but probably not where a lot of people would like it to be. As you look at the potential for adding additional nonstop flights from Indianapolis International, what do you see as kind of the landscape out there?
Look, I have my, my aviation consumer hat, like all of the fellow Hoosiers, and I'd love to have a Paris flight back. Right,
Yes.
those are
Yep.
great connectivity points. But at the same point in time, from my professional standpoint, we provide a product that's agnostic to where the network planning solution needs to be. American Delta United, in particular, in our world, recognize the demand patterns and the most efficient way for us to service those out of Indianapolis or any of the airports that we serve throughout the country. And we'll continue to lean into being the solution provider for our codeshare partners as they look at the demand opportunities that they see, whether it's out of Indianapolis or, as I said, any of the regional or major hubs that we support. But more connectivity for Hoosiers is always a good thing. We've definitely seen reduced, nonstop connectivity across the country as the industry's contracted and has not had enough pilots and technicians and supply of aircraft that are viable for those routes, to service those routes. And I would hope that as we, get healthier on the supply chain side and we grow the pilot and technician ranks to match those supply chain fixes in the industry, that we can see more connectivity pop back into the marketplace for Indianapolis and regional airports, across the country.
Is it as you look at additional nonstops, is it an asset to have an airport like Indianapolis International? I joke with Mario Rodriguez, top airport in North America, ho-hum, 12 years in a row. It's like year after year, it's this continual accolades for the airport. Is that a positive thing when it comes to airlines looking to maybe add additional routes?
It absolutely helps. Indianapolis, we are so blessed to have an airport that's not only clean, but runs incredibly efficiently. It's big things and small things alike. The facilities are second to none. But modern conveniences or little conveniences, like when you land and you want to rent a car, you literally walk out of the terminal and boom, right there is the car rental. Passengers, especially the high value, high yield customers, recognize that, they realize that, and when they have a choice, they'll select airports that have those conveniences as opposed to having to get on a monorail or a bus and be at a car rental facility that's 20 minutes off site. So Indianapolis, from an airport standpoint and from an economic development standpoint, is doing all the right things to attract more nonstop service into our community. It's just a matter of matching supply and demand, both on the capacity side and what are the other available options to support the networks holistically.
Much more ahead with Matt Koscal, the president at Republic Airways, including what's next for the airline here in Indiana and beyond. That's when the Business and Beyond podcast returns. Stay with us.
At PNC Bank, we're committed to making a difference in the lives of our customers and communities by helping them move forward financially. As a Main Street bank, we try to do right by our customers with every encounter. Our local teams offer personalized financial advice to help guide you in making the best decision. We're proud to be part of your community. PNC Bank. See how we can make a difference for you at pnc.com. Copyright 2022, the PNC Financial Services Group, Inc., all rights reserved.
We build Indiana. The Laborers International Union of North America builds and maintains roads, bridges, and other essential infrastructure that make us the crossroads of America. So thanks to LIUNA members' work, Hoosiers have a better quality of life, like access to utilities, easier routes to jobs, schools, or medical care, and deliveries keep moving. We build Indiana for good jobs and stronger communities. The Laborers International Union of North America. We are LIUNA.
From breaking news to in-depth articles, discover the advantage of unlimited access to all news from IBJ and Inside Indiana Business with our limited time trial. Get started now at ibj.com/trial offer.
And welcome back to the Business and Beyond podcast. We're presented each week by PNC. My guest this week is Matt Koscal. He's the president at Republic Airways, headquartered in Carmel, a major campus, new campus there, and the corporate headquarters piece of that campus, that investment will come to reality a little bit later this year. But man, I think your background is interesting. You've been at Republic for I think 11 years, but you came into the airline industry from the pharmaceutical industry, right?
I did, correct. Yeah, I spent over a decade and a half in the pharmaceutical industry. I was a finance management major out of Purdue University and was fortunate enough to have my first position be with Abbott Laboratories in their financial professional development program. And what a great place to start your career and to rotate throughout several different functions within the industry and to learn the cores of financial planning and analysis and forecasting and mentorship. Couldn't be more appreciative of the time that I had at Abbott Labs and how it really prepared me, gave me a great foundation for success.
Yeah, certainly Purdue, great programs in pharma and aviation. Great history there. What interested you? Was there a particular interest in the aviation industry, or was it Republic specifically that interested you, but to make that switch from the pharmaceutical side?
Well, the aviation interest really came at a young age. I grew up outside of or in the Chicago suburbs in Arlington Heights, Illinois, right near the O'Hare flight path. I got to watch the planes land overhead each and every day, and I was just fascinated, literally fascinated, like a little boy looking up at the sky and just marveling at the complexity of how things flew in the air. And you'd go out to O'Hare and you would watch the operation just working across the airfield and an airplane taking off on this runway as a aircraft lands on a crossing runway, 30 seconds later. And I was just mesmerized as a child. And truth be told, I actually had a job offer coming out of Purdue to go work for United Airlines. And I made a decision. I have no regrets on any of the decisions I've made. You look back and you just continue to learn from them. But I made a decision at that point in time to follow the industry at Abbott that had just a better balance sheet, a better financial foundation. The airlines at that point in time were a lot less concentrated and on a lot shakier financial footing when I came out of school. And the personal opportunities seemed more certain within the pharmaceutical arena. But I will tell you, while I loved the development, loved the training, loved the business challenges within the pharmaceutical life sciences arena, I was never passionate personally about the product, right? I never had a connectivity of wanting to be in a lab and understand how the molecular science worked or, the product development side worked. But I always held on to that bug for aviation and that love for aviation. And, years later, this opportunity through a mutual connection I had with Brian Bedford here in the local Indianapolis community through some of the philanthropy and events that we served on together. This opportunity developed to come in and to be a part of the Republic journey back in 2014. And after a lot of discernment and a lot of conversations with Brian and other members of the leadership team, I trusted to take the dive, and the rest is history. It's been just a fascinating journey, one that really aligns with me, not only on the financial side of the brain and the strategy components of what we do, but that little boy inside of me loves the product that we deliver each and every day. And I still go to the airport and I'm still fascinated by the complexity and what we do, both big and small alike within the aviation industry.
That's great. That's great. Well, 11 years at Republic, much has changed. Much continues to change, certainly in the airline sector. And for Republic, you keep getting bigger. A merger with Mesa Airlines that was several months ago now has yet to be approved all the way through. Give us an update on where that merger stands and what that presents for Republic going forward.
So let's start with what it represents for Republic. And it just aligns with the mission that we set out over a decade ago when Brian and myself and the team sat down. We said, who do we want to be? And it was very clear. We want a culture that develops America's regional airline of choice. And, this merger continues to align with that strategy of allowing us to become America's regional airline of choice, strengthening our position there, allowing us to get bigger in a manner that, is synergistic for us. The Mesa organization today has 1,700 plus passionate aviation professionals who are just as passionate about the product that they deliver as we are here at Republic Airways. They're delivering a product with 60 aircraft that align with our fleet. So they've got a fleet of 60 Embraer E175 aircraft. And as you may know, we're an all Embraer fleet here at Republic. So there's great fleet synergy for us. And it's with a customer that we're very close with at United Airlines. So it allows us to grow our United relationship. It allows us to grow our fleet with a complementary fleet, choice that we've aligned around since 2017, and it allows us to add 1,700 plus aviation professionals to our ranks and allow us to be stronger and better together in that vision of becoming America's regional airline of choice as we continue to move down this path together.
How about timing in terms of when you expect things to be fully closed?
So when we announced the merger back in April, we targeted a Q4 closing date. We're on track right now for a Q4 closing date. The major hurdle that we have left to achieve is SEC approval of the S4 process, and then a final shareholder vote by the Mesa shareholders. So we'll allow that process to continue to play out here over the next 8 weeks or so, and we would be very happy if this thing continues down that path and closes sometime in Q4.
How about timing on I know you mentioned it earlier, but timing on moving in on the corporate headquarters piece of your campus there in Carmel?
So the corporate building is scheduled to be open in December. So December 6th of this year, we'll begin to relocate folks out of our current headquarters here on Purdue Road in Indianapolis. And we'll migrate over about a 3-month period of time. We'll move different departments over that period of time, ensure that we've got everybody fully moved in on one group, work group, and then migrate the rest of them over. As you can imagine, the workforce is incredibly eager to get over there. I think it's the free coffee as well as the really nice facilities.
All right, Matt, thank you. I really appreciate you taking the time to join me on the podcast this week and appreciate your leadership in the airline industry, but also in Indiana. Matt Koscal, the president of Republic Airways. And thank you for joining us on this edition of the Business and Beyond podcast presented by PNC. We're a weekly conversation with achievers in business, sports, entertainment, and beyond. And you can download all of our episodes and get Indiana business news 24/7. All you have to do is go to InsideIndianaBusiness.com. I'm Gerry Dick. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Off the Record with Indiana's 250 most influential business and community leaders is a podcast that peels back the curtain on Indiana's most respected leaders, one episode at a time. Go beyond the headlines and hear the stories of grit and innovation that shape these leaders. Do you want to know who's driving our state forward? This is a must listen. Subscribe and listen wherever you get your podcasts or at ibjpodcast.com.
Thanks for listening to this IBJ Media podcast. You're probably going to remember this ad. Do you know why? Podcast advertising works. 85% of listeners recalled hearing an ad during a podcast, and 70% of podcast listeners have acted after hearing an ad. So whether you're looking to be heard across the entire IBJ Media Podcast Network, sponsor one of our shows, or just start with a 30-second ad, IBJ Media can help. Contact advertise at ibj.com to learn more.